Greetings. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to create the best ever abandoned checkout flow. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how to recover more of your abandoned checkouts, what is a good abandoned cart recovery rate, and just overall, I will build it step by step from scratch together with you. So without further ado, let's get started. It's going to be very beginner friendly, but I will also include some of the advanced things. So what is an abandoned checkout, right? So I went to Gymshark and I added something to my cart. And then here's what I saw. Okay, so this is the checkout.gymshark.whatever page. Okay, so now I arrived to the checkout page. Many websites or e-com stores will have a cart page and then a checkout page, but it's not the case for Gymshark. Actually, it's better for conversions because there's one less step. But what you will see here is compliance. Okay, so when you ask for someone's email address on the checkout page, so this is, unblock, e-commerce checkout. I wouldn't call it's definitely not legal advice. I've been doing this for 9 years, and this is the way that I understand is compliant, especially if you're outside the US. Okay, so in the US it's actually a little bit more relaxed. As I said, this is not legal advice. Okay, but basically you want to have this checkout page with the email address here, and then click here to receive emails. This is enough to receive emails by whatever, to receive emails from us. Even that one would be enough, but it specifically states what it's going to tell you, which is good. And then it's not automatically ticked in. Okay, so there was a change of rules a few years ago, and you cannot tick it in automatically. You cannot make them, like tick here if you don't want to receive. Like the default option is that they're not subscribed. Okay, that has to be the way. It sucks, but that's just how e-commerce works. A lot of times in the US, you can argue that if somebody expressed buying intent, you can actually market to them and you can email them. But this is just like the cleanest way, because Gymshark, is public. I think it's a public company, publicly traded. So you got to know that. And additionally, so with this whole edit to cart and checkout, whatever is, so basically when you come to Klaviyo and you're going to check the metrics, if you search added to cart, it's not going to come up. The only thing you can find is checkout started. Okay, and there's multiple reasons for this, but there's really good articles which you can Google how to add the added to cart metric in Klaviyo, and it will bring you here and it will give you a really good article on this one. Honestly, so I think if your store does less than 100, 200K per month USD, you don't need to worry about it, and you can just set up browser abandonment and then abandon checkout. Okay, and it's going to cover your bases. All right, so with that being the case, you're going to come to flows and you're going to click on create flow, and you will search for abandoned checkout reminder. So you will select this one. Okay, and then you can name it whatever you want. It's going to give you a pretty decent base to work from. Okay, and you don't have, like this is a dev store, like it's just for test is what I'm using. It's my one. And we have not received any checkout started events. It's fine. So don't worry about these. Use template, click on that one. So I clicked on that one, and this is where it brought me. Okay. So trigger checkout started. And in here, you want to be cautious of this. Like, especially if you sell a product that people buy often, maybe consumable, maybe $10 t-shirts where maybe they come back to buy again in a few days or a few weeks. You want people to be able to re-enter this flow. Okay, I wouldn't recommend no re-entry. I just usually am on the side of just send more, whatever you think is the threshold of like, okay, I can send my customers this many emails. I in general will push you to send a bit more. Okay, so that's just like, I also want to bring balance to this conversation, because I speak to so many people who are like, oh, we don't want to like spam our audience. And it's like, your definition of spam, I would be curious to hear your definition of spam first. Okay, like what is your definition of spam? Have you seen your competitors? Have you seen how many emails your competitors are sending to your potential customers? It's insane. Like everyone's inbox is full. It's normal. Okay, it's, again, especially in the US, advanced economies, and just everywhere. We have so many clients that are selling in Israel, for example, and it's performing great. There's many e-commerce brands in Hungary. I tried to unsubscribe from the main football team of Hungary, and they still haven't managed to subscribe me. So just keep an open mind, okay? So yeah, we've got that one, and this is important, okay? So this is a flow filter. Place the order 0 times since starting this flow. All right, in here, wait 4 hours. So I think that's a best practice. Anything from 2 to 4 hours is good. And then this is what I don't like about the Klaviyo basic one, okay? It's gonna give you this option of SMS. Okay, a couple things about SMS. So Klaviyo is a US company, and it's just been my impression as a European person that people from the US often just assume that the whole world is the US. Okay, this is again super generalizing, and you can change these things. But sending SMS with Klaviyo to a non-US country is crazy expensive. Many times it doesn't even make sense for you to do it financially. Okay. So with that being the case, chances are if you're selling in not in the US or Canada, you're just gonna have less SMS subscribers. Maybe you will not even have SMS. In general, I think again, usually it's worth it. Like if it's like $15 extra for you, it makes sense to send some abandoned checkout SMS, but it has to be sent within 24 hours. You cannot add more. Okay, it has to be one. It's a legal requirement. This is not legal advice again. And yeah, so now we already have a pretty decent abandoned checkout flow because we have an email. If they agree to receive SMS, which again will have a similar thing, like when you ask for their phone number, you need to have something like this. Click here to receive texts from us about our blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. So then you already have two emails. So if you checked my video on the basic Klaviyo setup, like the basic bare minimum of what you need on an e-com brand, this is already a good start. Okay, like if you want to spend just the 80-20, just the minimum viable time to get good results, is the first two emails. Okay, but we're going to go a little bit deeper in this video. Okay, so we've got 4-hour delay. Looks like you left something in your cart. So yeah, when you click on this one, it's going to have no preview text, which is one of my main issues with the Klaviyo default stuff. So I'm sure you didn't mean it. It's a playful subject line that I like to use sometimes. Let's just use that one for now. So when you check the template in here, it's not going to show you the product blocks. What do I mean by that? So you're going to click on edit. And then when you now click on the preview, all right. Okay, again, it's not showing me because there hasn't been any events, but it's going to show you the dynamic blocks. Okay. And in here, again, it's just the best practice to preview everything because, for example, here, this logo is too big. Okay. So let's adjust the maximum width to about half of that or something like this. In general, from a copywriting perspective, I like to use brackets instead of the end dashes. Your cart is safe. And honestly, so some of the best abandoned checkout flows that I've ever seen are something like this. So it's like 1 or 2 sentences. All right. And I know it's like some of you will have your perfectionism triggered by this, but it's actually the thing that works. And for some reason here, this text is in a weird text color, which I still don't understand why that is. You can go to styles and then you can change the color usually, not always. Again, another thing is you want to be most of the time optimizing for mobile devices because most of like 70 to 80% of traffic on average in e-commerce is on mobile devices. All right. And maybe we added some kind of weird color code or brand guide to Klaviyo. So it gives me in white text this bit. But you have to have your organization name and organization address at the bottom of the emails. It's another legal requirement. You really don't need the social clicks at the social section, in my opinion. So once you upgrade the Klaviyo account, you can remove the Klaviyo branding. And honestly, this is becoming a pretty decent email. A lot of times people overcomplicate it. They add these header images, they add this like long ass copy, which by the way, so it can work if you're, for example, in supplements or if you're selling products that are not super visual. So what do I mean by visual? So let's say fashion items, jewelry, the couches, like interior design type of stuff, things that you can see or are visual, you can add images. Okay. It's just what I've seen is something like this actually works best. So one of the best converting abandoned checkout flows is from a brand called Beard Brand. So I went to the Klaviyo conference in 2019, and they did a presentation on this. It's like an 8-figure ecom brand, and this is their abandoned cart flow. Okay, it's a not so visual product because it's a balm. Okay, but I mean, like, you can see it, but it's not supplements, balms, skincare. Although skincare can be kind of visual because you can do before and afters, so those are really powerful in emails. But something like this, if you can create something like this: logo, hey, first name, 2 sentences, courtesy email to remind you about your cart, it will expire soon, click below to let us transport you back where that basic stuff. But what else can you see here? So when you, okay, I'm just going to slow down here. So when you open this email, what is the first thing that you see? Because for me, it's actually the call to action button, which is the correct thing to do. Super big font size. Oh, my font size is too big. It looks ugly. Don't give a damn about it, all right? So, do you want to just, you need to know if you want to make money or if you want to make your emails look pretty. If you're Chanel or, yeah, Gymshark, for Gymshark, it makes sense to send emails that are pretty nicely designed. Okay, but if you just started out, and especially if you're selling not so visual products, Gymshark is selling visual products. These guys, very clean email, by the way. I think there's beauty in minimalism and simplicity, and there's 2 call to action buttons that say the exact same thing. How many times have you received an email where you're like, okay, cool, I can do, what do you want me to do? I will do it. Like, in terms of, like, I will click where you want me to click, but I just don't understand where you want me to click because you ask me so many different things. So again, you want simplicity, you want just total clarity of what you want these people to be. People are simple creatures most of the time. So we want to be able to, you can just tell them what to do. Okay, you can see, actually, I like this. Klaviyo changed this. They added 2 call to action buttons that say the same thing. I hate it when 2 call to action buttons say different things. All right. So with that being the case, oh, and another thing, I don't usually want to include your prices in the emails. That should be the job of your product page. The job of the email is to get a click. It's not to sell something, it's to get them to click. So with that being the case, something like this, mobile device, you want to make sure, actually, I would make this one smaller, this little text. You don't even need it, honestly, because you want to make sure that there's a call to action button above the fold. There's an old school marketing saying that above the fold is gold. Moving swiftly on. So the SMS, so with this one, you want to be under 160 characters, and you shouldn't care about images. Again, don't include images. It's going to triple your costs, and it might increase your sales by 0.01%, if that. Many times they don't increase your sales. So you're just going to have a worse ROI, and you just don't do it. Okay, so just have text. Definitely have a link to the, like, a link that works. So many people get just bogged down with the advanced things in Klaviyo, and in the meantime, you should just send out emails where the links work. Like, if somebody clicks somewhere, it should lead to your website, for example. So many times I see emails where it's just like the links don't work, and error 404 page and all of this stuff. And if you just want the value and just want a flow that will convert well, maybe add another email, by the way, 1 day later after the second email. Your card is about to expire, something like that is fine. Again, add some preview text. Honestly, something like click here will work way better than what you would expect. And another good one that I really like is RE your order. So that makes people think that you've actually had a conversation before. So that's because what you have to understand is the people who are receiving your emails are not like you and me. They're not marketers, okay? They're just people, and they sometimes can think that you wrote to them personally, and you have to realize this. All right. You want to name your emails correctly and specifically so that later on when you search for things and when you want to check where a sale has come from, then you will know, oh, it came from abandoned cart email 3. Additional, more advanced thing. So discounts. So something that I've really liked recently is telling people, hey, I decided to give 10% off for the first 10 customers. So if count, I will stop the 10% off. So act now. Because when you give them a time delay, let's say 48 hours, which we usually do, then they're just going to be like procrastinating over it. Okay. And again, so technically you should deactivate the code after after they use it 10 times, or like 10 different people use it. That can be like a Shopify fixed discount code if you want to do it super ethically. I've worked with people who are kind of like in a gray area and they're just kind of okay with, they're just saying things in emails, which, again, I don't encourage this, or I don't encourage you to do this or endorse it. I'm just saying there are people who do that. Okay. And sometimes it can convert well. So if you're open to doing something like this, then maybe you can test it, okay, and then see which one works better for you. It has worked whenever we tested something like this for our clients, worked really well. Another good one is, if you buy now, we're gonna refund 2 random orders, and that's just another thing. And so there's like urgency and scarcity that you can use. Speaking of which, have you heard of Robert Cialdini and his book? Okay, so it's called Influence, and there are 7 influence, categories or ways that you can get people to buy things. And the way I like to create if you want to do super advanced, you can have 7 emails in the abandoned cart flow, and you can tackle all of these things. So reciprocity, so that means you make people feel obligated to return favors or gifts. So for example, if you offer free shipping or a discount, that makes them feel like they owe you one. You offer them a free ebook, all of this good stuff. Commitment and consistency. People align their future actions with their past choices or public statements. So like once you got someone to like click somewhere, with every click in your funnel, you will it will be more likely for these people to buy again, or just to move forward to the next step. Social proof is really big. So I'm a big fan of adding social review, like testimonials, people's reviews into your emails, because it will convert really well. People like it when they see other people have purchased this product. Authority, for example, if you showed up in Forbes, or if you have retail presence, like a physical location, that will make people feel more safe. People are more easily persuaded by individuals they know, like, or find similar. So actually, I think there's another like subcategory in this, which is comedy. I just think comedy is super extremely underused in email marketing. So that's just another thing. I just love working with brands where we can be funny and the brand has a personality. So we worked with 2 Fortune 500 companies in the past, and it was kind of boring, right? But I mean, it was great, and we get it's not credit, but it's the proof. But it's just kind of like you writing corporate stuff. So actually, many times I like to work with smaller brands where the brand can have a personality. Scarcity, we talked about this. If you say that it's like really short, like there's 2 items left, people will be more likely to buy. And then there's also unity. People are more willing to say yes to those who share a collective we identity, like location, community values. Maybe some political brands, for example, it's just going to be easier for you to sell to those people if you targeted them well. Maybe that's a bad example, but it's not something that we use super often. But again, it can come back to like knowing your customers and like using words that they are using. So yeah, so usually the abandoned cart flows that we build for clients is like 4 or 5 emails with sometimes with even a discount letter. So don't do discounts in the first 2 emails. And then in email 3, 4, 5, and 6, maybe you can do like a letter where the first discount is like 10% off. And then once they didn't convert at that one, you can offer them 15. So that's a good one. And sometimes we make the abandoned cart flows even longer and just make it like a nurturing sequence where you just do education and like friendly stuff and content and evergreen emails. And you send them like once every 7 days if you want to go the super extra mile. And otherwise, also, this is just a another caveat. So if you're not getting 10% abandoned cart recovery rate, actually send me a message, because there are so many caveats. There's so many different things that are impacting this, including the country that you're selling in. Maybe the people that you're selling to are just not super engaged. Maybe they just don't know you that well. Dropshippers have a really big, tendency for this one. So don't get discouraged and get bogged down with the numbers, but you want to be A/B testing. You want to be using, in my opinion, simple emails in here, and don't overcomplicate it. Simple scales, fancy fails. 4, 5, 6 emails is good, in my opinion. And if you get really good engagement, aka above 30% open rates, then you can always add more emails to that sequence. If you have in general an email marketing flow that is getting less than 30% opens, maybe you can consider not adding extra emails to that, just because it's going to lower your engagement. And again, also if it doesn't make that much money, like if it's getting you 20% open rates but it's converting at 5% that email individually, then I would keep that one on, and maybe you can add an extra one and use one of these 7 principles. Maybe you make us, and I don't like to combine these. I like to make one email only about one thing. So maybe the social proof, maybe just offer the discount, maybe offer just the scarcity, maybe just make the email about your authority, maybe get them, I don't know, tell them about how you were featured somewhere in a podcast or whatever. So that's the way I like to do it. And if you find this video helpful, or you just like it, make sure you subscribe, like it, comment, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you share it also with someone that you think could benefit from it. Peace.